Hi guys, so today I'm going to be talking about organic batteries and how they work. But first, let's start with how a regular battery works. Batteries are basically devices that store chemical energy and then convert them into electricity. This happens through an electrochemical cell. There are three main parts to an electrochemical cell. There's the cathode, the anode, and the electrolyte. Each of these three play an essential role in the overall process of converting the energy. So to produce energy, there needs to be a flow of electrons. The electrons need somewhere to flow to and somewhere to flow from, and that's where cathodes and anodes come in. So an anode is basically the negative side of the battery, and this is where the electrons will flow from. And then there's the cathode, which is the positive side of the battery, and that's where the electrons will flow to. Then you can add a load. A load, it can be like a light bulb. So when the electrons start at the anode, they can flow to the light bulb and light it up, and then it can flow back to the cathode. So that's a pretty basic explanation of how battery works, and I think it's really insane to think that without batteries, all our devices would have to be connected to the wall. Like, can you imagine not being able to carry your phone around everywhere with you? Like, that's just insane to me, and it's really cool to see. But the main problem with batteries right now, especially lithium-ion batteries, which are the most popular ones at the moment, is that they're not actually good for the environment, especially when you have to mine the lithium for the batteries. Don't get me wrong, these batteries have caused like revolutionary advancements, but I think we can do better. So how can we fix this? That is through organic batteries. Polypeptide organic radical batteries are this new discovery, and it's really cool because from getting the materials, using the battery, and even the process of degradation, all three of these are entirely environmentally friendly. And let me explain to you how it's made. There are 5 steps to creating this battery, and they're going to sound confusing, so I'm going to do my best to break it down for you. So the first step is called an esterification reaction, and this basically happens with the glutamic acid and the alkylyl group. And what happens is that they connect to form an ester compound. And this is kind of like a preparation step if you think about it. It's basically the glutamic acid is getting hooks onto it so that molecules can latch onto it. That's kind of how I like to think of it. And it's just getting you ready for a future step where there's going to be molecules being connected to it. So the next step is cyclization, and this is another preparatory step just like the one before. And what happens is the monomer structures are being prepared for polymerization. So monomer structures are basically building blocks for polymers, and they're essentially needed because they provide better stability, rigidity, and they just make it easier to control the structure when they've been polymerized. And so that's just like a way of preparing it for the next step, which is polymerization. So, like I just mentioned, polymerization is the next step, and what happens is the monomer structures are linked together to have this long chain of polymers, and that is basically your polypeptide in the polypeptide organic radical battery. So what do you do with the polypeptide? Basically now there's 2 different pathways because there's 2 more chemical reactions that need to happen. I'm not going to go too deep into them. If you're interested, you can read my article on Medium. But basically, there's a viologen polypeptide synthesis reaction and a bitempo polypeptide synthesis reaction, and these are both needed. And after these are completed, there's step 5, which is when the polypeptides can be put into the cathodes and anodes and used in the battery. What I find most cool about these batteries is actually the degradation process. So organic batteries are metal-free, so they can go through a hydrolytic degradation process under acidic conditions, which basically using liquid chromatography, which just turns something that's been created back into its original form. Through this, the batteries can go back to the original forms that they were in and can be reused and recycled to be turned back into a battery. And I just think that's so cool because if you think about it, all the batteries right now, they have to be thrown away and then you wait 100 years for them to decompose. But now with these, you can literally reuse the battery after it's been finished. And that's just insane to me. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more, you can check out my Medium article. I go a lot more in depth in this video. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And thanks for watching.